Welcome back, my wonderful second and third grade artists. Today, I would like you to imagine that you found a treasure map. What you're going to need for the project today, you're going to need a pencil, a Sharpie marker or a black marker or pen if you have one, and some crayons. So we're going to look at your map from what's called a bird's eye view. A bird's eye view is an elevated view of an object from above. So imagine you're flying like a bird and you look down and you see this island. That's what it means to have a bird's eye view. So there's a few things you need to make sure that you include on your island map, on your treasure map. You need to have what's called a compass rose so that the person that's reading the map can see what their directions are. So a compass rose is an icon. An icon is a picture that represents cardinal directions in a map. Cardinal are like the main directions. So north, east, south, and west. Never eat shredded worms or soggy waffles. And you also need to include a key or a legend, a map key or a legend. That's this little box in the corner. And in this key, it's symbols and icons that represent things on your map. So these wavy lines in the blue represent water on my map. So these little pine trees represent a forest. So when someone is looking at a map, they'll know, okay, the blue is where the water is. The trees are where the forest is. So if I go this direction, I'm going to have to cross a river and I'm going to have to go through a forest. So a key, a map key or a legend it communicates for the viewer what is going on in your map. Okay? So in my map, I have the blue waves for the water. I have my zigzag lines for my mountain, the trees for a forest. I have this black dotted line for my path. I have a thin blue line for a river. I have gray areas with circles to represent rocky area. And then I have this tan color that represents the sand. Okay? So to start your picture, first you're going to want to draw your compass rose. So a compass rose should have 4 points, almost like a 4-pointed star. So if you just want to make 4 triangles, long and skinny, like this. All right, so this is my compass rose. Oh, I'm missing some things though. I need to put an N, which stands for north, east, south, and west. Never eat shredded worms. And I only say shredded worms because I learned never eat soggy waffles, but my son said his teacher says shredded worms, which is good because I don't think I'll ever eat shredded worms anyway. Okay, so here's my compass rose, and it can be anywhere on your paper. I would suggest putting it in a top right corner so that you can communicate what direction people need to go on your map to find the treasure. Okay, then you're gonna need a rectangle in the opposite corner or in a corner of your paper. All right, so that leaves you with the rest of the area to fill in to make your island to hide your treasure. Okay, just use some crazy wavy lines. So I'm going to use triangles, just triangles this time for my mountains. So if I want, I can make some big triangles here and maybe do some overlapping so it's a big mountain range because I've got lots of triangles. And maybe I'll do some more over here to represent mountains. All right, so I'm gonna write mountains, M-O-U-N-T-A-I-N-S, mountains. Okay, I'm gonna make a rectangle and make some wavy lines in it, and this is gonna represent my water. So let's say I've got a big lake right in the middle of my island. Well, if I don't color it, even if I color it blue, not everyone's gonna know what that is. So in order to give it a little more, to communicate a little more detail with the viewer, I'm gonna make some wavy lines just to show that this is like a big lake. All right, and then because it's an island, we're surrounded by water, so I'm gonna put some wavy lines around my island. Okay, what else do I need? So I'm gonna make some circles to show that there's some really rocky areas. Maybe that's a place that they wanna avoid, or maybe if I put it by the edges, it's too rocky for the pirate ship to land. So if I have rocks, then it can communicate different things. That maybe that's not the best place because it's too rocky. So you have to go around it. Those would be obstacles. All right, so maybe just for the sake of time, I'm just gonna make my forest. I'm gonna use triangles and like cloud-like tops for my trees, and I'm gonna make a forest over here. So I'm gonna use some triangles and rectangles for the trunks, some cloud shapes, some more triangles and rectangles. This way it's a big forest. You have to go all the way around it or go through it. But either way, it's another obstacle to get to the treasure. So I'm gonna make a rectangle here. Oh, I should probably identify these on my key. Rocks, forest. I'm gonna just use this as my sand. I'll color that. And then make a dotted line for my path. I'm gonna put my treasure over here. Now you don't have to use the same identifying features that I do, but you can use them, you can come up with your own, get creative. Check out what pirate maps look like. Maybe I'll just put some snowy peaks on my mountains. Okay. Then I want you to trace so that it's easier for the viewer to identify your features. So trace and color it in. Okay, as you start finishing up your maps, I want you to make sure if you add the brown on the outside, it gives it kind of an antique look. And just to show you how to do that again, and you did that best. So what you want to do is take a broken brown crayon, make sure you have a paper underneath so that it's not drawing on the paper, and you're going to lightly color off your paper from the inside out. And you can press a little harder, but you go right along the edges, and it just gives that little darker edges, so it looks like it's been antiqued. All right, make sure you're doing this with the paper underneath it though. And also make sure your colors and your key match the colors you've used in your map so that you can clearly communicate to the viewer what is what, how to identify the features and the surface of your island. Okay, so have fun with this project, be so creative, use that knowledge you have of the Earth's surface, and maybe instead of just mountains you make volcanoes or things like that. And don't forget to post your finished work on Flipgrid. I cannot wait to see what you guys come up with.